Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, call Halal Yamla, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Harachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well, as well as teach well. And peace and salutations to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. And the title of this video is going to be Babylon, America's Days Are Numbered. Okay? Babylon, America's days are numbered. Alright, and pretty much this video is going to be inspired by the book of Daniel, the 5th chapter. Alright, as we know in this chapter, alright, this is the famous chapter that goes into when Belshazzar, the king of Babylon, or the Neo-Babylonian Empire at this time, was holding a feast. Alright, and then suddenly, he looked up and saw a handwriting on a wall, Mene Tekel Upharsin. Okay, and I'm pretty much go through most of this chapter, and I'm not gonna read every single verse per se, but I'm gonna go through most of this chapter, going into this this particular event and what happened, and Daniel breaking down the meaning of the handwriting on the wall. Okay, and ultimately apply it all to today here in America, Babylon the Great. Okay, as we know, according to the scriptures, according to the Holy Spirit, us the hopeful elect, we know and understand according to future prophecy that America is Babylon the Great, that we read of in Revelation 18 chapter. Okay, and as we read of, throughout in the writings of the prophets, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, alright, and the rest of the prophets who prophesied against Babylon during their times. Alright, we know that we can take a lot of the things that they prophesied against Babylon during their times and also apply it today, okay, against America, which is the modern day Babylon, Babylon the Great. Okay, as the scripture speaks about in Ecclesiastes in the Old Testament, that which is then is now. There's no new thing under the sun. So we as Israelites, okay, all 12 tribes, we're in Babylon all over again, Babylon the Great. Okay, America, as well as wherever else we're scattered at throughout the four corners of the earth. All right, so this is the book of Daniel chapter 5 and verse 1, Belshazzar's feast, as it says at the top. It says, Belshazzar the king made a great feast to 1,000 of his lords, and drank wine before the 1,000. Belshazzar, whilst he tasted the wine, commanded to bring the golden and silver vessels which his father Nebuchadnezzar had taken out of the temple, which was in Jerusalem. Yeah, because as they were having this feast and drinking wine and eating, drinking, and partying, a lot of those cups and those vessels that they were drinking out of were silver and gold vessels that Nebuchadnezzar took out of the temple. Okay, when our first temple got sacked. All right, the first temple that was built by Solomon. All right, eventually getting sacked by the Babylonians and the Chaldeans. Okay, in which as a result of that, many of our forefathers among Judah, Benjamin, and Levi were taken captive into Babylon. Okay, the northern kingdom were already over here in the west, due to the Assyrian captivity. All right, and then after the northern kingdom came over here to the Americas, all right, during the Assyrian captivity, all right, then years later, eventually the southern tribes, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, were taken down by the ancient Babylonians led by Nebuchadnezzar. When the first temple got sacked, and the Babylonians and the Chaldeans took out a lot of the gold and silver vessels that we had in the temple and brought it to into their kingdom, and used those vessels of gold and silver to eat, drinking, marrying, being given into marriage, worship their idols. All right, so it says, Daniel 5 and 2 again, Belshazzar, whilst he tasted the wine, commanded to bring the golden and silver vessels which his father Nebuchadnezzar had taken out of the temple which was in Jerusalem, that the king and his princes, his wives, and his concubines might drink therein. Verse 3. Then they brought the golden vessels that were taken out of the temple of the house of Yahweh, which is at Jerusalem, and the king and his princes, his wives, and his concubines drank in them. Verse 4. They drank wine and praised the gods of gold and silver and of brass, of iron, of wood and stone. Okay, they used all that those gold and silver temples that they would so like a gold and silver vessels that they took out of our ancient temple, the temple that was built by Solomon. And they drank out of it. All right, and they used it to worship their gods of ancient Babylon. Gods that were made out of gold and silver and brass and iron and wood, as it went into all of their idols and their, because one of the things when you go into the history that ancient Babylon and ancient Assyria was known for, besides their strong militaries of that time, was that they were most known for their multiple gods, the multiple idols that they worshipped. Okay, so it says, verse 5, in the same hour came. So all right, so in the same hour that Belshazzar and his people were eating and drinking and partying it up. All right, just like here today in America. You got all this stuff going on in the country and around the world. All right, more wars and rumors of war being stirred up. Okay, Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran being more and more joined together and stirred up to come up against Babylon the Great and its NATO allies. All right, which we know soon. All right, even America's NATO allies are getting ready to turn against America. Hell, look at what's going on in Canada right now. Yeah, the current Prime Minister of Canada the other day, basically said, pretty much the trade relationships between the United States and Canada is over. He literally said that it's over. The current Prime Minister of Canada, which I don't quite remember his name, but you could look him up. Okay, and mind you, Canada is a member of NATO. All right, so if America's northern border country, Canada, feels the way it feels about America right now, that they pretty much no longer want to deal and trade with America, saying that it's over. How much more could you imagine how America's European allies feel about America, Babylon the Great, as far as trading and dealing and things like that? So hey, that's all gonna fulfill Revelation the 17th chapter, where it talks about the beast. All right, NATO and the EU shall hate the whore, America, Babylon the Great. Okay, and cause us to be burned with fire. Meaning what? America's European allies are going to join with Russia and China and North Korea and Iran, okay, and various other countries that have beef against America to help aid in the destruction of Babylon the Great, America. You see? And meanwhile, while all of this is brewing up in the background, the average American in this country, still worried about, partying it up, okay, getting ready to celebrate so-called Easter, and then after that Memorial Day, and then after that 4th of July, okay, just worried about hot girl summer and all this other BS, just worried about more and more folly, okay, just living it up, okay, in pride. It says, Daniel 5:5, in the same hour came forth fingers of a man's hand, and wrote over against the candlestick upon the plaster of the wall of the king's palace. And the king saw the part of the hand that wrote. Verse 6, then the king's countenance was changed, and his thoughts troubled him, so that the joints of his loins were loosed, and his knees smote one against another. So when Belshazzar saw the handwriting on the wall, he became in great fear. Okay, he became in great fear of what he saw. He couldn't explain what he was looking at or what he just witnessed. All right, and like I said, his countenance changed and his thoughts trembled. All right, he got weak in the knees. All right, so now I'm gonna jump down. From there, I'm gonna jump down to verse All right, I'm gonna jump down to verse 17. Okay, because when you read further down, all right, Belshazzar pretty much summoned Daniel, all right, our beloved prophet Daniel, okay, to come to him and interpret the handwriting on the wall, okay, because Belshazzar, his astrologers and Chaldeans and the wise men of Babylon at that time weren't able to interpret what the handwriting on the wall meant. All right, those astrologers and the soothsayers and the Chaldeans, which were the wise men, the witches and warlocks of ancient Babylon. None of them were able to interpret the handwriting on the wall. So therefore, Belshazzar resorted to summoning the prophet Daniel to interpret, okay, and to break down what that handwriting on the wall meant. All right. So I'm gonna jump down to verse 17, Daniel 5 verse 17. Then Daniel answered and said before the king, let thy gifts be to thyself, and give thy rewards to another. Yet I will read the writing unto the king, and make known to him the interpretation. Yeah, because when Belshazzar summoned Daniel to pretty much break down the writing on the wall, he offered him gifts and jewelry and clothing and a high seat within his kingdom. And Daniel was like, look, man, look, I don't care about none of that. I don't want your gifts. I don't want your jewelry. I don't want your royal clothing. Okay, I don't want none of that. I don't need none of that. But I will break down to you what that handwriting on the wall meant. That was the attitude of Daniel in this situation. So it continues to say, verse 18, O thou king, the Most High Yahweh gave Nebuchadnezzar thy father, all right, gave Nebuchadnezzar thy father a kingdom and majesty and glory and honor. Okay, and just like Esau Edom today, Yahweh Shema Shai has given Esau Edom, okay, who's the king over this modern day Babylon, America, Babylon the Great. Much majesty, much glory, much honor, okay, over the fatness of the earth. All right, it says, verse 19, and for the majesty that he gave him, all people, nations, and languages trembled in fear before him. Yeah, just like all people, all nations, languages, and so on and so forth fear and tremble Esau Edom in his rulership today. Because what? Esau has the fatness of the earth by way of what? That sword. Military power, okay, guns, tanks, fighter jets, missiles, rockets, all right. And as well, we know Esau's sword goes beyond this carnal military power, but as well his the sword of his propaganda, his mainstream news media, his false education system, his pseudoscience, his pseudo technology, his pharmakeia, all right, his his judicial system he uses as a sword, to condemn the just and justify the wicked, all right. So wait, a lot of the things that we're reading in this chapter we can also apply today here in America through Esau Edom and Babylon, through America and Esau Edom. You see? So it says, Daniel 5:19 again, and for the majesty that he gave him, all people, nations, and languages trembled in fear before him. Okay, whom he would he slew, and whom he would he kept alive, and whom he would he set up, and whom he would he put down. Yeah, that was the type of power and authority that Nebuchadnezzar had, that the Lord gave Nebuchadnezzar during his time of rulership. And just like the Lord gave Esau Edom that type of power and authority in the earth in his current day. As scripture says in Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. All right. The Lord has given Esau Edom the power to kill and keep alive and set up and put down, okay, ruling the earth with much wicked oppression, all right, being able to take down governments and set up puppets in their stead to forward his agenda and his will. Okay, forward his riches and his wicked system. All right, that's the type of power that Esau Edom has been given in this current day. Right, it says verse 20. But when his heart was lifted up and his mind hardened in pride. Hey, what is it saying? Obadiah about Esau Edom? The pride of thine heart have deceived thee. So just as Nebuchadnezzar in ancient Babylon was, hardened and lifted up because of his pride. Okay, the same deal with Esau Edom in his latter day. All right. So it says, but when his heart was lifted up and his pride hardened, and his mind hardened in pride, he was deposed from his kingly throne, and they took his glory from him. Yeah, so at the height of Nebuchadnezzar's pride, the Lord started, taking him down, started humbling him. Okay, and the same deal was going on with Esau Edom today. When Esau Edom, his pride was at an all-time high. Going back to the 50s and the 60s. When America was so-called great, right? It was around the late 60s where the Lord Yahweh Shemashah started to slowly but surely take down Esau's kingdom and take down his pride, because simultaneously around that same time, the late 60s going into the early 70s, what happened? The Yahweh Shemashah sent down the Holy Spirit, okay, onto the remnant, and the truth started to spring up around that time, starting with Abba Bivens, okay, and the elders of One West, who eventually taught our apostles a great millstone. Okay, so when the Lord, during the late 60s going into the early 70s, sent down the Holy Spirit for the truth to be sprung up, for the elect to be sprung up. Simultaneously, the Lord was also beginning to take Esau Edom down. Take down his pride. Okay, send down the truth upon the earth to challenge his lies and his pseudoscience. Okay, starting with, the lies taught within the Christian church and the Catholic church. Okay, the lies that he taught throughout history, whitewashing history and whitewashing the Bible, things like that. All right. So it says again, Daniel 5:20. But when his heart was lifted up and his mind hardened in pride, he was deposed from his kingly throne, and they took his glory from him. Verse 21. And he was driven from the sons of men, and his heart was made like his heart was made like the beast, and his dwelling was with the wild asses. They fed him with grass like oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till he knew that the Most High Yahweh ruled in the kingdom of men, and that he appointed over it whomsoever he will. Yeah, and it also says that in Daniel 4:17, the previous chapter. Okay, the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and appointed over it whomsoever he will. All right, but yeah, this actually happened to Nebuchadnezzar. When you read in the scriptures, the Lord, took away the pride of his heart and made his heart literally like a beast, basically like a caveman, if you will. Had him dwelling out in the wilderness. Okay, living like an animal. All right, and hey, guess what? Going back to the so-called Dark Ages, the Lord did the same thing to Esau Edom. Had Esau Edom living in the caves of the Caucasus Mountains like cavemen. Okay, crawling around on their knuckles. Ooga ooga. Not being able to talk rightly. Just literally living like animals. Okay, not bathing, not washing themselves. All right. Hey, so the Lord, what the Lord did to Nebuchadnezzar, he did the same thing to Esau Edom during the so-called Dark Ages. All right, or the so-called medieval ages, as Esau would call them. All right, which during that time, for a period of 1,000 years, you had our forefathers, Jake, ruling over Russia, Europe, okay, parts of Africa. All right, winning. Okay, you had the Moors during that time, ruling all throughout Spain and Italy and Portugal. Okay, Our forefathers were ruling over Europe and Russia during that time, the so-called Dark Ages. But then, of course, eventually after that 1,000 year period, okay, during the early 1400s, the Lord brought Esau, Edom out of that caveman beast-like state, okay, to come back into power and started taking over Russia and taking over Europe, starting with Italy, okay, which is where the ancient Western Roman Empire was ruling at, Rome, Italy, okay, and during the Lord basically allowed Esau to have a renaissance, which means rebirth, okay, and from the Renaissance period, it brought forth what, the Spanish Empire, and then the French Empire, and then the British Empire during the 1800s, okay, and then eventually out of the British came what, America during the Revolutionary War, all right, and then from America being dominant came NATO, in the EU, you know, and all these things stem from the so-called Renaissance period, which means what? Rebirth. The rebirth of ancient Greco-Roman values and cultures throughout the earth, which ultimately formed America, NATO, and the EU as we see today. All right. So Daniel 5:22. And thou his son, O Belshazzar, hast not humbled thine heart, though thou knewest all of this. Yeah, so Belshazzar, he knew and understand the history of how the Lord, smote his father Nebuchadnezzar, and took down his pride, turned him like into a beast and had him living in the wilderness. But yet Belshazzar, okay, didn't humble himself. He hardened his heart even more against Yahweh Shemashah. All right, despite knowing what the Lord did to his father Nebuchadnezzar. So it says, verse 23, but hast lifted up thyself against the Lord of heaven, and they have brought the vessels of his house before thee, and thou and thy lords, thy wives, and thy concubines have drunk wine in them, and thou hast praised the gods of silver and gold, of brass, iron, wood, and stone, which see not, nor hear, nor know. Okay, and that's like into here in present day America. People just worship, whatever they wilt, do as they wilt, eat as they wilt, be as they wilt. Okay, screaming for rights and equality, and to pass laws to normalize this, that, and the third. All these wicked and perverse behaviors and lifestyles that's all rooted in whatever idols that people in this country worship. Okay, people are just into all kinds of stuff that's rooted in idol worship. Just as it was in ancient Babylon. All right. So it says, the latter part of 23, and the power in whose hand thy breath is, and whose are all thy ways, hast thou not glorified. Yeah, in America, Babylon the Great doesn't glorify Yahweh Shemashah. Alright, this place is all about going against Yahweh Shemashah. Okay? Anti-Messiah behavior. Okay? Here it is, this country, America, prides itself on, portraying itself as a so-called Christian nation and all about the Bible, this, that, and the third. But yet, in no part of this country's history has it, established laws based on the scriptures, or ruled off of a biblical standard. Okay, everything about this country, from the so-called founding fathers, George Washington and Ben Franklin and all these other freaks, up until now, was all rooted in Freemasonic, anti-Messiah, Satanism. All right, rebellion. Okay. So this country doesn't glorify Yahweh Shemashah. You got all these Edomite, red-blooded Edomite Christians, who really and truly believe that this guy Trump is all about, making America great again and making America Christian again. When truth is, all right, America was neither one of those things. It was never great, okay, and nor was it ever so-called Christian. Okay, it was never righteous. It was never founded off of biblical principles. Okay, and nor was it ever great. Okay, America was just powerful. All right, it was never great. It was just powerful. Okay, it just had power. It had influence. It had, all right, atomic weapons and now nuclear weapons, a strong military, a strong navy, you know, all these things. It was never really great. It was just powerful. All right, it just executed power throughout the earth to put the whole world in fear. Okay, this country never put the whole world in fear by improving the quality of life or improving the quality of the earth. All right, no, it was never great. All right, but nor was it ever so-called Christian. So it says, verse 24, then was the part of the hand sent from him, and this writing was written. Okay, so now it's going to go into the writing, the handwriting on the wall. Verse 25, and this is the writing that was written, many tekel upharsin. All right, verse 26, this is the interpretation of the thing. Many, Yahweh hath numbered thy kingdom and finished it. Okay, the Most High Yahweh Shemashah hath numbered thy kingdom and finished it. That's what the word many means. And let's read that in NLT. It says, this is what these words mean. Many means numbered. Yahweh has numbered the days of your reign and has brought it to an end. Yep. And that's what we see going on with America, Babylon the Great. You know, we see more and more countries around the world, both strong and weak, rising up against America. Okay. You just had Iran the other day, rejecting a nuclear deal with America, no longer accepting nuclear sanctions from America. All right, and over these past few months, we've been seeing Iran linking up with China and Russia, okay, more than ever. Literally doing joint drills with China and Russia's military. Okay, telling, you even had the president of Iran about a month ago, telling America, hey, do whatever the hell you want, okay, while performing in joint military exercises and drills with Russia and China, okay, showing what that these countries are gearing up to bring an end to America's rule, all right, and not only are these countries like Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran gearing up against America, but also as well even America's European allies, NATO, EU. Okay, again, these countries are also going to be used to bring an end to America's rule as well, as these NATO countries and EU countries are just as pissed off against America as countries like Russia and China and Iran. You see, so that's what the word many goes into. All right, the Yahweh Shemashah has numbered, all right, that kingdom and finished it. And just as this applied to the ancient kingdom of Babylon, but hey, as Scripture says, that which is then is now. We also see that applying to here in America as of 2025. All right. Let's see. Let's go to many. Okay, Strong's H4484. Mana. It says weight of measurement. All right, numbered. Okay, so many means numbered. All right, let's go to the next one. Verse 27 it says, Tekel, thou art weighed in the balances and art found wanting. Okay, so that's what Tekel goes into, weighed in the balances and found wanting. Let's look up the word Tekel. Strong's H8625. The call says to weigh, to be weighed. All right, to balance. Right. Let's read that in NLT. All right, NLT, it says Tekel means weighed. You have been weighed on the balances and have not measured up. Yeah, and balances can also be symbolic of judgment. The Lord, as Yahweh Shemashah, has pretty much judged this place, weighed this place, okay, to find out that America, okay, is wanting. Which, now let's go into that word wanting. All right, and art found wanting. Okay, the word wanting, Strong's H2627 says chasayar, chasayar, which means lacking, wanting, deficient. All right, deficient, wanting. All right, let's look up that word deficient. All right, deficient. It goes into lacking, slack. This is from the Oxford Dictionary of English. It says not having enough of a specified quality or ingredient. All right. Okay, not having enough of a specified quality or ingredient. All right. Then it even says right here in the second definition, also mentally deficient, having an intellectual disability. Hey, and that speaks volumes to America today. Not having enough of. People are perplexed. You got people crying about eggs. All over the internet and whatnot. The price of eggs and not having enough money to pay for rent and make ends meet, having to decide between using their paycheck to either pay for bills or pay for food, okay, and gas. People a lot of people are in debt, credit card debt, loan debt. All right, they're months behind their rent, facing eviction, okay, months behind their car notes. All right, people are perplexed, carnally deficient. All right, and as it says in definition 2, also mentally deficient, having an intellectual disability. Yeah, and not only are people carnally perplexed, from not having enough food and resources to last them, okay, and it's on certain levels, but also people are mentally perplexed, lacking mentally, lacking intellectually. When you walk around America, when you're around your co-workers at your job, or people at the gym, or in the supermarket, your family members, whatever it may be, you just listen to that conversation and the things that they talk about, and people are just mentally through in this country. Okay, they're bugged out, crazy, uninformed, confused. Okay, full of that juice. All right. They're still under the psyop of this whole Republican Democrat nonsense. Believing that either party is for their best interests. In making this country great again and all this other madness. Okay, people are dumbed down and stupid in this country. Okay, operating at a very low vibration. And a lot of it has to do with the foods and the things that they put in their bodies. But overall, people are just hey, they don't have the spirit of discernment on them like we do. We that are of the hopeful elect. They don't have the spirit to discern, what's true and what's false. Picking out the meat from the bones, so to speak. They just see things on the news and see things on social media and on the internet, and they're not able to decipher. Okay, what's true from what's false. What's true information and what's misinformation. They just see certain things and hear certain things, and they look at all these memes and stuff like that, and they take it and they run with it as if that's actually reality, that is actually true. And they look at all the madness that's going on with this current Trump administration, and they people really still believe in this guy. They really still believe that him and guys like Elon Musk are really working and fighting to make this country great again. Okay, they're lacking, they're lacking carnally, financially, and as well they're lacking mentally and intellectually. All right. Hey, but you know what? This is exactly the estate that the elites of the society want these people to be in. Okay, because the dumber that these people are in this country is going to make it easier and easier, to orchestrate certain events, black swan events, things like that, to justify taking away their rights the least amount of resistance that they can create. You know, because hey, you best believe when things really pop off, the elites of Esau, Edom, in this society are going to make it to where people are going to be on their knees, begging them for solutions, begging them for peace and safety. All right, even if it means, taking away their constitutional rights and their basic human rights. 15-minute cities. All right, social credit scores, limiting their access to buying and selling, limiting their access to eating and drinking and burping and pooping and farting, via that NWO system, okay, that's going to be governed by AI and the Charagma, okay. People are going to see all these left-hand miracles that Esau is going to be putting before them, and they're going to be with it, okay, and that's all because, like I said, that they're lacking, they're found wanting, they're deficient, okay, carnally, all right, financially, deficient, as far as their nutrients, these defiled foods that they eat in this world, and it's all leading to them being mentally and intellectually deficient. Okay, so that's that word. Where was that? Tekwa goes into wanting, all right, lacking, deficient. And even when you look at the depth in this country, all right, DEBT, the depth, that thick clay, as it speaks of in Habakkuk 2. Man, I believe right now that America's in what, 30 something $trillion of debt. I could look it up, but I'm not. You can look it up on your own. I mean, more than likely it's more than that. It's probably in the hundreds of trillions of dollars of debt that this country is in. Debt that they'll never pay back. Okay, so this place is found wanting and lacking and deficient in all different types of ways, lacking in innovation, lacking in creativity, lacking in of course, when it comes to the music and the entertainment. The music and the sports and entertainment is at an all-time low. Lacking in birth rates, lacking in marriage and relationships. You see, just lacking all over the places. Lacking in quality of food and life, lacking in morality, lacking in happiness. Hey, this place is through. Okay, hey, this place is ready to be taken down. It's ready for the taking. Okay, there's no future in America, just like there was no future in ancient Babylon. All right, at the time of Belshazzar and Daniel and so on and so forth. Well, guess what? It's the same environment here in America. All right, this place is ready for the taking. The days of this place is numbered, and it's just about up. It says, verse 28, Daniel 5:28, Perez, thy kingdom is divided. Okay, that kingdom is divided, and boy, oh boy, do we see division in America at an all-time high. Division between Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, this whole left wing, right wing nonsense. Division between the men and the women in this country. Division between what a man and a woman is. Period. Division over everything in this country. You go on these you go on TikTok or Instagram and you watch these certain videos and reels and whatnot. And then you go to the comment boards, all you see is people arguing back and forth, poking fun at each other back and forth, taking shots at each other back and forth. And it's just all over, a lot of it is just all over the littlest things, But that's just the environment that's in this country. The division, all right? Everybody, mad at each other. The love of many is wax cold. All right, and even Yahushua spoke in the Gospels about, what happens to a kingdom divided. It shall not stand. A kingdom divided is going to be lacking. It's going to be found wanting, deficient, as we're going into. You see. So it says, Daniel 5:28, Perez, that kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. And now, in this current day, the Persians and the Medes is Iran. All right. Now, back then, the Persians and the Medes, known today as Iran, was the kingdom to overthrow ancient Babylon and being the next kingdom to rule over the earth. All right, the next empire to rule over the earth. But hey, now in this time, as we know according to prophecy, that after America gets taken down, the kingdom of heaven is going to be established. All right, but the Lord is using Iran, which are the modern day Persians and the Medes, along with Russia and China and North Korea and various other countries to help aid in the destruction of this modern day Babylon, America. You see? So even in a way, Babylon the Great, being given to the Medes and the Persians, which is Iran today. Okay, hey, that in a way is that which is then is now. We see Iran being one of the main players. All right, coming up against America in these latter days, along with Russia and China backing them. Okay, and the Lord's going to use those those types of nations to aid in the destruction of this place. Okay, to for Yahushua to establish the kingdom of heaven on the earth after the destruction of America. Okay, so it says, verse 29. Then commanded Belshazzar, and they clothed Daniel with scarlet, and put a chain of gold about his neck, and made a proclamation concerning him that he should be the third ruler in the kingdom. All right, and then verse 30. And that night was Belshazzar, the king of the Chaldeans, slain, and Darius the Mede, all right, Darius the Median, took the kingdom, being about 62 years old. All right, 62 years old. Okay, yeah. So in that very same night that they were eating and drinking, partying it up. Okay, and then the handwriting on the wall showed up. All right, and after Daniel broke down what the handwriting on the wall meant, okay, in later on that same day at evening, the Lord sent the ancient Persians and the Medes to take down ancient Babylon. Okay, which is all in this current day symbolic of what, that as America is in its last days of partying and eating and drinking, marrying and being given into marriage. Hey, shortly the Lord is going to kickstart these end time prophecies, the MOTB, persecution, all these things, civil war, civil unrest, okay, all out anarchy and chaos across this country. And then after that, what? World War III, all right, to take down America, okay, to have Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran, and various other countries, including America's European allies, to take this place down, all right, by way of fire. You see? So wait, this same environment that was going on during the time of Belshazzar in ancient Babylon, where Babylon was just eating, drinking, partying up, being proud, worshiping their idols. All right, then the Lord shortly sent another nation to take them down. And the Lord's getting ready to do the same thing here in America. Okay, as people in Babylon are just worried about folly and partying and drinking and eating. Okay, marrying, being given into marriage, being proud. Okay, doing as they will, worshiping as they will, eating as they will. The Lord's getting ready to bring the swift destruction upon this place. All right, the numbers, the days of Babylon the Great are numbered. All right, and have pretty much come to an end. And we see that we're at the end. Okay, just look at the environment in this place. Division everywhere. The love of many waxing cold. Nobody trusts each other anymore. Men and women are divided at an all-time high. People are on edge. especially due to this whole political climate in this country. People are lacking, perplexed, deficient. All right. And you can clearly see the environment is being set for all hell to just break loose in this country. It's all a matter of, just one major event, one black swan event to really set things off. Okay. To usher in the Lord just bringing total destruction upon this place. This is Jeremiah 49:31. It says, "Arise, get you up unto the wealthy nation that dwelleth without care, saith the Lord, which hath neither gates nor bars, which dwell alone." Okay, and we can apply this heavily to America in these outer days, dwelling alone. Okay, pushing away their European allies, being isolated. Okay, having a not able to protect itself. Okay, wealthy nation that dwelleth without care. Proud, arrogant, carefree, no fear of the Lord. Okay, anti-Messiah. This speaks to America down to a T. Okay, and the Lord has put a spirit on this place to literally set itself up for destruction. All right, just as it was during the time of Belshazzar in ancient Babylon. All that eating and drinking and worried about folly. They pretty much let their guards down against the ancient Persians and the Medes. Guess what? Due to America being all about folly and eating, drinking, madness, doing as they will, the guards at this place is let down as well. Okay, ready for the taking. So so I'm gonna pretty much leave it at there. So Lord willing, this video is edifying. And until next time, Shalom.